This is Anne-Marie Leake, Vice President of Communications for ePay Resources. Welcome to the Payment Space.
Well, I'm pleased to welcome Reed Luhtanen, Executive Director of the Faster Payments Council, to the Payment Space podcast, brought to you by ePay Resources. This is being recorded live at Notch's Smarter, Faster Payments 2024, and I'm your guest host, Peter Davey, the Payments Jedi. Reed, welcome to the show.
Hey, Peter, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So, really would love to tell the audience a little bit more about what is the FPC, the Faster Payments Council, and sort of what's the role you guys play in the payments industry?
I'd start off by saying the FPC is as much about who we are as what we're working on. I think there are a lot of organizations out there who are working on payments modernization and thinking about what do we need to do to move payments forward and get faster payments out there. The FPC, though, is a bit unique in that our members come from all over the payments ecosystem. So while a lot of associations, maybe their members are all financial institutions or all retailers or all fintechs, the FPC brings all those constituencies together. And then we add in consumer groups and others into that mix to talk about some of the key things to drive the U.S. to safe, easy-to-use, ubiquitous, faster payments.
It sounds like a pretty important role. I mean, I know, we're at ePay Resources, members of the FPC. I think that's how our members are getting access to what the FPC is doing. You guys have been working on a lot of different initiatives. Mm-hmm. What are some of the top initiatives that you guys have going on at the FPC that you think our listeners would like to hear about?
Yeah, for sure. And absolutely, ePay is a member. Love that. And I love the idea that you guys are helping get the word out about what's happening to financial institutions. Now, of course, we also love when financial institutions who are listening to this maybe get more interested and come and check us out and maybe even join up to try to help advance some of this work. But so the main areas of focus right now at the FPC are threefold. I'd say they're reach, the experience, and then trust. So when you think about reach, what we're focused on there is helping to educate financial institutions. You know, obviously, there are about 700 or so connected to either RTP or FedNow or both. But that leaves, 8,000 plus who are not connected to either, right? So helping educate that constituency on what this is, why it might be important to them and their customers, and ultimately with the objective of getting them to connect to one of those faster payment networks and use it. Then also helping to grow the reach in terms of corporate and other awareness on the business community side, right? So helping educate the business community and corporates on what this is, how they can use it, and how they can talk to their banks about it. So reach is a very important thing. The experience is another one, though, right? Because just because you've gotten networks connected to financial institutions doesn't mean that you have experiences that exist that would allow the different use cases that people want to do, right? So what are those things like QR codes or APIs or directory services that can enable different use cases and make it easier to actually use the network once you've got connectivity? And then trust, right? Nobody's going to use a payment system if they don't trust it, right? So helping the industry get their minds around what do we need to be doing when it comes to fraud prevention, assignment of liability and a liability framework. So things like that to help build that trust so people can know when they're going into it that what happens on the unhappy path transactions, am I going to be taken care of and how?
That's awesome. Sounds like there's a pretty pivotal role that the FPC is playing in trying to coalesce or bring folks together. And I think it's especially important knowing that we actually have multiple opportunities in the faster payment space, whether it be same-day ACH, whether it be RTP, whether it be FedNow, and the fact that our customers, our bank's customers, are going to have in the use of all of those modalities across multiple spectra. So I think that's a really good role that you guys are playing across the industry. So thinking in that space and what the role is, what are some of the greatest hurdles you guys see right now from an industry perspective in coalescing around faster payments?
Yeah, and I would just real quick also say push to card, of course, is another example of a faster payment option that's out there that banks have access to and are using for quite a bit of things. I'd say in terms of hurdles, I think a couple things. I think there's, like I said before, a lot of education still has to be done, right? Like a lot of markets that have done this before us, take the UK or Brazil or India, they were doing it in a much different environment with nowhere near the number of financial institutions that we're talking about in the United States, and often with some sort of government-sponsored mandate of some sort that was sort of pushing the market to a certain result. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that was a better approach. It just was a different environment than we're operating in here, where there's not that built-in mechanism of education and understanding and ultimately requirement. So helping, I think, to get people to understand what this is, why it matters, and why it's ultimately going to be something that my customers, whether my customers are consumers or businesses or even other financial institutions, are going to be demanding from me is probably the biggest hurdle right now from my perspective.
So we're in Miami. Pretty cool place to be. Well, actually, pretty warm place to be. Yeah, very humid. What are some of the things you're looking forward to most about being here at the conference, other than connecting with other peers?
Oh, you took away the easy answer. That's anybody who knows me knows that that's always the thing that I'm looking forward to when I'm going to an event like this. I think what I'm super excited about is just looking back over the last few years. I've been coming to this event for many years now, and seeing how many sessions there are focused on payments modernization, open banking, faster payments, instant payments, real-time payments. I just stepped out of a session on real-time wage payments. The one before that was about open banking systems for smaller community banks and credit unions. So I think twofold there, right? Like just increased focus on payments modernization, but then even like maybe a little slight nuance on that, like a better focus on how do we help make this relevant to the long tail of financial institutions, the thousands of community banks and credit unions in this country that serve so many people and businesses throughout the heart of America.
That's awesome. Well, we recently had a book that was just published, Smart Instant Payments, Transforming Commerce and Banking in the New Era of U.S. Instant Payments. And this was written by a number of our friends, including the two of us. What are some of the things that you thought were really interesting when you approached helping to write your chapter on the book?
Yeah, what I found interesting was sort of getting an opportunity to take a step back and say, if we want people to get excited about this, if we want to help create a resource that ultimately is there to help advance the adoption and usage of instant payments, which I think was the reason why all of us decided to participate in this, and being able to sort of take a step back from my perspective and say, you know what, there's more to this than just, well, we're going to do this thing, but we're going to do it a little bit better, and that's good, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think thinking about it in terms of, I think we all understand the need for everything to be better, faster, and payments is no exception. But I think the thing that really struck me as I thought through what I wanted to write about was it's not just about it being faster, but it's about payments being done in the context of some other relationship and payments as a form of communication. So I think being able to sort of spend some time with that thought and think about that the ramifications of that can be pretty broad and pretty deep and pretty wide in terms of thinking about it, because you're going to, what you might even think about is, I think I use this phrase in my chapter, like high fidelity payments, right? So thinking about it in terms of having so much information that's associated with the payment flowing in the context of the payment. And I think that's an untapped aspect of this that I think is pretty exciting and pretty fun to spend some time thinking about. What about you?
So, I mean, I really loved writing the history of payments. For one, obviously being very close to the development of RTP, being one of the original architects, I have a lot of knowledge that I don't think a lot of people understood what went into it. So being able to get some of that out on paper so that people could actually really tell how closely the clearinghouse at the time when I worked there was collaborating with the entire industry to drive these things forward. But I think even more so, just kind of giving a general sense of where we've come and where we're going to, and the why of now. Why do we need instant payments? And you hit on the point around the fact that everything's moving faster. Everything is moving with more transparency in real time, and payments needed to be there as well. But for me, it's really about the fact that we were trying to meet a 21st century economy with a 21st century payment system that did not exist before we started on this journey. Nothing against push to card, nothing against the ACH space. I think both of them are going to continue to grow very, very strongly. But to have this new tool in our arsenal that allows us to drive toward a much higher degree of automation, to me, that was kind of the passion behind why I really wanted to contribute to the book.
Yeah, and I just think also, and this is something that I've been talking to with Steve Wasserman, who's another one of the authors on the book, and helped kind of pull it all together and edit it and herd us all into getting it actually across the finish line. So big thank you to Steve for all the work he did there. Is the potential to work with different undergraduate and graduate school programs to help get smart instant payments into the curriculum that people are learning about when it comes to some of the payments courses that are emerging in different higher education settings. So I think helping people kind of come out of school with a better base of knowledge is kind of exciting too.
Yeah, building the next generation of payments nerds, huh?
That's right. You and I used to be the young payments people.
We did, and we're starting to show our age a little bit more on this one. But well, Reed, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Really appreciate your insights, and looking forward to spending a bit more time with you here at Smarter Faster Payments 2024.
Likewise. Thanks so much, Peter.